everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are all doing well. If you guys don't know who I am, my name is Hannah and I just love to play with makeup, whether it be colorful, neutral, everything, and just getting use out of my collection. Today I thought that we could just do something a little bit more fun. As you guys maybe know, I have talked about how there's a specific palette that kind of intimidates me when it comes to color, and what I want to do today is challenge myself to sort of go outside the box and play with colors that I wouldn't normally play with, and learn not to be intimidated by this palette. The palette that I'm talking about, of course, is the Juvia's the Zulu palette, and inside this palette are 9 very vibrant, very almost neon shades. So for today's video, this will be our focus palette, and I will incorporate other palettes and just pull from other shades if I want to add a little bit more dimension or brightness. Because of my top, I wore this specifically for this video. I thought that we could incorporate the purples, the pinks, and maybe something with these turquoises. So yeah, if you guys are interested in project planning, using up your stash, shopping your stash, and using what you have, then I hope you'll consider subscribing, and grab a drink, grab a snack, and let's jump right into it. So I've already done all my skincare and my SPF, and I just clipped my hair back so that we can just get right into the makeup portion of the video. And we're going to start off with primer. I'm going to be using 2 primers. First, I'm going to go in with my Be Pure Essentially Ageless Primer. There's barely anything left in here, which is super exciting. Tons of windowing too. So I think that that will be out pretty soon. And I'm going to apply this all over the face. It has a very moisturizing feel on the skin. It's nothing too, I guess, major or life-changing, so it definitely won't be repurchased, but that's why we're using it now while we still have it. And then I'm going to go in with my favorite primer, and that's the Power Grip Primer with 4% niacinamide from e.l.f. I have a couple of chores today around the house, nothing too crazy, so I want this to kind of last, especially because I'm going to try to break down a tent. I'll put up a tent and break it down today and see if I know how to do it before I go on my camping trip that I'm excited about. And then that way I can be prepared, because we're getting there a little bit later than we'd like to be. Make sure nothing goes wrong, you know? And the one thing that I've been doing before my foundation is spot concealing, so I'm just going to take a little bit of my AOA Studio Liquid Concealer, and I'm going to be placing that right on my spots, I guess. I just feel that when I put foundation over it, doesn't pick it up or anything, and it's kind of a little bit better this way. I'm going to be doing a bit of a foundation concoction today, I think. I'm going to take my Maybelline Fit Me Dewy and Smooth foundation, and I'm going to mix it with my ALA Halo Glow Liquid Filter, and mix that here on my palette. You could use a spatula, I'm just using my finger, whatever you feel comfortable with, I guess. And I'm going to be putting that all over the face. This Halo liquid filter is a little bit lighter than that Maybelline foundation, so I feel like they would match. And I don't really want anything with too much coverage today. We can always bump up the coverage too with the concealer, so it's looking a bit more yellow on camera than it is in person, but that's okay. And then we're going to take our foundation sponge, or brush, and just blend that on the face. And then I'm just going to take my sponge and gently go over that. And this also helps because it kind of picks up some of that excess product that I don't really want. And then for concealer, because I'm trying to use it up, I'm going to take my Hydrating Under Eye Concealer from Be Pure and apply this right on the center of the face. Hair bubble. And then while that sits, I'm just going to quickly apply my Alter Ego eyeshadow primer. And before we move on, I'm going to apply a little bit of cream contour. I did not add this to my makeup kit, but the reason why I'm using it is because I think the tone is a little bit better, and also the packaging is actually cracked right there. So this is the LA Colors Contour Stick in the shade Deep. I have used a whole one of this before, and the tone is just very nice, especially for my skin when it's a little bit warmer and not as pale. It's just a bit more red, I feel like. And the other bronzer that I have is a little bit more yellowy. And while the concealer is sitting, I can just blend this out. I think I put a little bit too much on my forehead, but that's okay. This is from the Dollar Tree as well, and it's quite affordable at $125, though that might be changing to $150 soon. But the products are very nice and extremely affordable. And make sure to blend it into the hair as much as you can, because then you won't have harsh edges. And then I'm going to take my sponge and just blend out the forehead a little bit. And then we can finally blend out that concealer. And I kind of like doing this because if you put too much on, you can always go over it with the concealer. Again, taking my trusty sponge and gently going over that. And then for blush, because I thought it would be fun, I thought that we could use this lip and cheek stain or tint from Be Pure. I will have the shade on the screen. I forgot what it's called because the shade names are not on the product, unfortunately. This is a really nice jelly tint kind of a product. It's very pretty and it stains like right away. So I'm going to take a little bit of my brush, dab it onto the tint or the stains or the stick, and I'm going to dab that on my palm and gently go over the cheeks with this. I really like this product a lot. It really does last all day. And yes, we are putting it on top of foundation, so it might not stay as long. But regardless, I think that it's a really cool product because you can really tailor the coverage to what you want. And I feel like it's so much quicker than a cream. Like, it's not as thick. So that's sort of why I like it, I guess. And there we have it. Super easy, super fast, super duper nice on the skin. And for a liquid highlighter, again, we're going to use the LA Colors Too Cheeky highlighter in the shade Outshine. And there we have it. This does have a little bit of glitter to it, but you don't really see it unless you're right under direct sunlight. But I actually think that that's kind of pretty, so I don't mind it. And I'm just going to use my blush brush for this because I want to blend it into the blush. And I'm going to use my foundation brush for my forehead, so I don't have anything too pink up there. And for powder, I actually switched out my powder. So instead of the pink powder, I'm going to use my Oil Ultra Longwear powder in 102 Bait. And I'm going to brush that over my whole face. This powder actually is something that I'm rolling in for my kit. I will be doing sort of a new kit maybe in, I guess, mid-July, because that's when I get back from vacation. But I want to update you guys because that pink powder that I added in the e.l.f. compact, it actually doesn't really look great on my skin tone right now, and I feel like it's because I'm too tan. I don't really know, but I think it looks better when I'm paler. So instead, I rolled this powder in, as well as my AOA Studio Flawless Setting Powder. This actually has different colors to it, so it's kind of more color correcting, but it's also smaller, so I feel like I might be able to get through it faster before the end of the year. I would love to get that powder out. The green is quite strong, so I don't really know how to use it yet, but hopefully I can figure that out and then show you guys it. And then for my under eyes, I'm just going to use my Wet n Wild Photo Focus powder. Although I don't really like baking because I feel like it's just a lot of powder, I do like to press the powder into my skin and then brush it off. I also feel like it creates sort of a protective barrier when I do my eyeshadow, because then that way, if there's any fallout, it'll kind of catch it and I can just sweep it away. I'm going to take my Too Faced Natural Eye palette and take the top brown shade. I'm not going to say the names because they're quite let's just say inappropriate, at least to me. For my brows, I feel like the general rule of thumb is like the most pigment in the center and then the excess on the inner and outer corner, or length, side. I don't know. I'm going to set my brows later after we do all the powdered products, just in case there's any excess or fallout in the eyebrows. When we put the gel in, it'll seal it, so I want to prevent getting powder on top of the gel, if that makes sense. I'm going to start off with my white base, and this is the Elf Cookies and Dreams No Budge eyeshadow in the shade Sweet Cream. You guys can use either a lighter concealer, though I recommend a base or maybe even a white primer specifically, because they are made to go on the eyes, and oftentimes concealers can be very thick or I guess cakey or slippy, so I feel like they're not really the best option for eyeshadow. I feel like when you use a white base, it's just better for colorful eyeshadow because it makes them pop more. I'm going to take this purple shade in the Juvia's palette and press that into the outer corner here, laying that color down and kind of keeping it close to the lash line. I believe some of these are more like pigments than eyeshadow, so I want to press it, really press it down there. I'm thinking we can do sort of a purple in the outer corner and then a blue on the lid, and then have that pink shade sort of to blend everything out. I feel like it makes my eyes look really orange, so that's cool. And then we're going to take this pink shade here and gently run that over the edge of that purple shade. Being careful, not like me. I have smaller eyes, so sometimes these big brushes tend to sort of put more pigment on than I would like. Does this palette kind of intimidate me? A little bit, but sometimes I think that that's just because I don't really know what to do when I look at it. I don't know what to think, or I don't know how to use color. So I'm just turning my brush kind of to the side that doesn't have as much pigment to buff that out. Not even at all, but that's okay. And then if I feel like I lost any purple or I want a little bit more purple in the crease, I just go back and forth between those two colors. I feel like the other eye is a little bit rounder, so we need to make sure they match. Pretty happy with that. It's very vibrant though. Whoa. I'm going to take a little bit of this shade in Linfea and gently brush that over the edge, just to kind of blend it out a little bit. I think that kind of makes it a little bit less harsh on the edge. I think I've always liked playing with color, to be honest. It's just sometimes I don't know. I tend to wear green and blue a lot in public, but I don't really do anything too purpley or pink, so this is kind of out of my comfort zone too. On the underneath too. Kind of. We're getting there, I think. And then for the lid, I'm gonna use my finger and go into this turquoise shade and apply that right on the lid. Wowza. This is very pigmented, you guys, very pigmented, and I feel like I'm starting to look kind of clownish right now, but that's okay. That's why we're stretching ourselves. And I'm gonna apply that blue on the lower lash line too. A little bit scary, I know. I'm a little bit scared myself, but we're building color here, so. I'm going to take this purple shade again, here, tap that off, and press that into the lash line. This way we don't have fallout and we're getting the most amount of pigment here. Then I'm going to take this pink again and basically repeat what we did on the upper lash line. This looks a lot like a Winx Club look for Bloom or something. Very crazy, very colorful. But that's the whole point, you know? Just playing around with your collection and trying to make pretty looks with what you have. I think when we add mascara and liner, it'll bring it together a little bit, but that's kind of the main look I was going for. I think that's pretty much it for the look, but I do want to touch it up and sort of blend out the edges, and I also want to add a little bit of sparkle to that blue shade. So first of all, and I might be a little bit crazy, I'm going to add a little bit of my Sweet Mint shade in 01. I'm going to put this maybe on the inner lid portion here. Very subtle, but I think it's cute. So now I'm going to take a little bit of my glitter glue from AOA Studio and apply a tiny bit of that to the lids. I don't want to add too much because I have learned that this will sometimes pick up. So just tap that on. I think that's good. And then I'm going to take my Judy Doll highlight powder. I feel like I have to layer this up a lot, which is why it's not my favorite when it comes to toppers. So I'm going over this so many times. It's finally giving a little bit of pigment. Nose. Highlight. And I'm going to take my Fenty Beauty Diamond Balm. I know, more glitter, right? And I'm going to put that right on top of that shade. I'm going to quickly put on my eyeliner by Essence as well as my Lash Paradise mascara by L'Oreal, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so now I have the wings on and the mascara on my top lashes, and I think it looks really cool now. I think it looks a lot better with the eyeliner and mascara. I might make the wings a little bit longer, but I'll wait till the end for that. Now I have a decision to make. I'm thinking of either putting the e.l.f. Cookies and Dreams Chill Zone cream shadow in the lower lash line, or maybe a brown. I'm too scared to use this. Is that weird? I think I'm gonna leave it, and I'm just gonna apply my AOA Wisp Enhancing Mascara in the shade Purple to the lower lash lines. For bronzer, I'm gonna go in with my Wet n Wild Color Icon Bronzer in the shade Sunset Striptease, and just gently go over the face of this. And then for blush, I'm going to use my Olak F13 blush in the shade Carnival, and it's this really pretty like fuchsia shade with a little bit of shimmer, which I think is perfect for this look. And then for lips, we're going to keep it really simple and sort of more neutral because everything's very colorful. So I'm going to take my Ioni lip pencil in the shade Plum for my lip liner. And then I'm going to blend that out with my finger. I'm going to put the L'Oreal Color Riche in Ferris Nude over this. I really do like how the lips pair with the look. I think it's pretty nice, especially for a neutral lip, or for a bright look is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, so now I'm going to quickly put some brown liner in the eyes and then put some gel on my brows, and then we'll be right back to wrap up the video. Alright you guys, so this is how the final look came out. I really like it. I think it's super bright, super fun, very outside of my box. I feel like if I would change it, I would probably add a little bit more pink, but I'm running out of filming space, so I'm just gonna wrap it up here. I think that we really stretched my creativity with this palette, especially using these sort of cooler tones to make a really fun yet cohesive look. I like the purple tones in the look as well, and just getting to play with color was just so much fun. So this is definitely a really nice exercise for the summer. If you guys enjoyed the video, please give it a like and comment down below what you guys would like to see from me next. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!